Welcome back, it's Lincoln. In today's video, you're gonna see a portion of a podcast I had the opportunity to be a part of with two of the founders of Prolific PT, a network of high-level fitness professionals that I just had the opportunity to become a part of recently. So the focus of the podcast was on mindset shift. And I had the opportunity to share some of my own experiences and what has kind of transformed me over time and where I am currently in business. But I left those to the podcast. I just took out a few portions that discuss meditation and breath work specifically. So I'm gonna link the podcast below, but for this video, we're gonna keep it a little more brief. So I hope you enjoy.
All right, welcome to the Prolific Muscle Podcast. This is your host, Isaac, and co-host Stan. Honestly, man, how was your week? How's your week been? You're getting ready for a meet tomorrow. So how's your peak week been per se for your powerlifting meet?
I will be honest and say that the training portion of it kind of sucked, but typically if you're a powerlifter, you know that actually means that you're probably going to have at least halfway decent meet. The week portion of it, my week's going pretty well, so I can't complain on that front. How's your week been? Honestly,
just working hard, but also feeling like I'm hardly working. It feels really good to be bored at the end of the day, which means that I've been really productive. And that comes from just doing things that I enjoy doing. So super blessed. Got to give a presentation today over impactful storytelling with an everyday conversation. And that was to a room, a panel full of fitness entrepreneurs who are all, massive industry impact people. So, it's been a good day, been a good week, and just going to keep this momentum going. But I want to introduce our guest because we're doing our part 2 to the mindset shift episode. And so who better to talk on that than the prolific performance coach, Lincoln Marty. How are you, man? How's your week been?
This morning, I actually got off a great call. I was on another call, just really talking about just struggles as men. And that is something, I'm obviously passionate about fitness as well, but more than that, it's about what can we do? What do we need to do on a daily basis? And then what kind of reflections do we need to take through our actions and over time to continually progress and become a better person?
Something that we actually don't discuss enough in the fitness industry, that has very, very physiological consequences is our mental health. A lot of guys just kind of well, this doesn't have to do with protein. This doesn't have to do with my training, stuff it down. Don't talk about it. But when doing that, they're actually causing a lot of potentially physiological damage. So is that something that you really take into account with your programming?
100%. So my programming, obviously there's the fitness end to it, but then also the mental aspect, and incorporating meditation into my life every day, actually sleeping 7.5, 8 hours every night. It just helps keep us regulated and keeps our performance on that next level.
It really is a holistic approach to a better system, a better human movement system, a better, mental, emotional kind of way we can go about life. So I think it's really smart to have that style of programming and really advantageous. For some reason, we see health and fitness it's separate. Fitness is all about just having a six pack and a big ass. And it's no, health and fitness are one and the same.
What I started to recognize, and I actually, I did one of my school projects was about, there's a real issue within healthcare, and the approach and the money being spent on heart disease and obesity but there's so much going into all right, once you have the disease, but I was but there's not as much being put into the preventative care. And I was there's billions and billions of dollars going into this, and our nation is not becoming healthier, which means something's wrong. It's one thing if there's billions and billions of dollars being spent and there's actually a positive impact being made. But it appears to me that like healthcare is going in the wrong direction and people are becoming more and more unhealthy. So like for me, even beyond fitness, it's getting into like the realm of like, how do we make the biggest impact within healthcare as well? Because I see that as a huge discrepancy, but then I recognize, wait a minute, fitness can be utilized as that tool for something so much greater.
When talking about that change in incorporating those practices into your own life, I know, like, for example, meditation. When you tried to get me to meditate before, I called you an idiot and I was like, I can't do it. But now meditate. And at the time I was like, that's not, like, I can't do it. So I need to find a new form of meditation. Right. And I thought like, oh, well, meditation can be anything I want, which, and, you know, per philosophy, yeah, sure, it can be. But now looking back, I'm like, yeah, I was kind of dumb, because what do? I do meditation, and it's, you know, actual kind of traditional sense. And so when you're working with clients, I'm very interested how you kind of build these practices into their life in a way that they'll actually adhere to it.
One thing I do within Trainerize, I will send out meditation 5 days a week, and it'll be anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes. But find the style that works for you, because I find sometimes just silence is good. Sometimes it's nice to just have a background music to like really just kind of fall into your thoughts. Sometimes you need to focus on the breath. And when you're focused on the breath, you're not focused on what's running through your head. I don't think there's a right or wrong way to meditate. So from client to client, it's really dependent on what do they need. Are you more of a depressed person or an anxious person? Because a lot of times we fall into one line or the other, or angry, whatever it is. But like someone more who has that natural tendency to lie on the side of depression, their first thing might not be to slow down. They might need something a little more energizing. Maybe they need a breath work first thing in the morning to kind of help get them moving.
Meditation isn't something that's easy. Like, it shouldn't be easy. If you get agitated trying to meditate, good. Like, you need to, the whole point is to let everything run over you, run through you, like to really understand yourself. And that doesn't happen when everything's always go, go, go. And so with you, like, do you have to explain this a lot, that like meditation shouldn't just be something that's like effortlessly easy?
Yeah, because a lot of people say that they're like, oh, I can't sit still, or my thoughts keep going. It's just like, well, just keep doing it. So the good part about if you're not doing well, because you had agitation within your meditations at first. I even find this within an exercise. If I'm not doing an exercise well, good, there's an area I can still progress. If I'm off balance, or within meditation, if I'm still like agitated or unfocused, okay, well, that means that that's an area of life that still needs focus and work. And once you become comfortable with doing the work, then everything else kind of becomes easier in a sense.
Like it.
Okay. I like that a lot. So one of my questions is, do you work with just anybody, or is there a specific type of person that should be searching this out? Should this be something that everybody, obviously, like, should it be something that everyone can do? Like, these are just questions that I personally have, because I've gotten very interested in what you're talking about now, because it's something that's very new to me.
What I'm talking about is not specified for anyone. It can help anybody. So even for you, like, you could probably utilize breath work prior to a lift to actually get yourself in a heightened state. When you are preparing, let's say you're preparing for a lift, do you become over anxious? Do you have is there anything specific that you notice as a trend that will throw you off?
Yes, I have the tendency when it's over a certain amount of weight, especially with squatting, to sit there and think out cue after cue after cue, and then almost forget to brace and breathe.
So you need to find a way to just to sit into the body. You need the body to take over. So all your muscle memory just takes over. So you probably need to relax a little bit, but at the same time, you still need to be tense and powerful. So you don't want to be like over relaxed. So yeah, I would say more of a slight energizing, but also clarity to kind of like connect you with the body would be something that could be incorporated. And obviously going into a meet tomorrow, you don't want to try to incorporate something new, because what I learned in bodybuilding, the last thing you want to do is your last week, you try to make a bunch of major changes, because then everything goes out. What you would want to do is once this meet's over, if you have like 3 to 6 months, whatever you do, start playing around with different breathing techniques. And then as you get closer to a meet, that as well becomes muscle memory. So then you just kind of automatically do this technique, and then you get set. And then in your mind, because otherwise then you overthink the breathing technique. Then not only are you overthinking the breathing technique, then you're also overthinking every other technique that you're doing. So
honestly, like with the overthinking, maybe it is because so I get really tense, but then like I start to kind of get to a point where I'm not relaxed at all. Like throughout the entire meet, like I can go through an entire meet and I can be relaxed, where I go through an entire meet and I can just be completely freaking tense. So like this, I think I'm gonna try this after tomorrow, but I really want to test this because, you know, it's something I think really could help me personally out.
Well, and that's the thing. Try to think back to the meets, the ones where you were tense and the ones where you were relaxed. Was there something you did different? Because typically there's a difference between the two. And it could be, the crazy part is what we got to recognize, like within any athlete or performer, is there's like personal life issues that come into play. Like if you're in a relationship and you're having a relationship problem, that is going to come into play. So like I think sometimes we think that when an athlete gets on a field, they have nothing else in their life. Like they don't have these outside distractions. They can't be distracted by issues with kids or family members or whatever is going on. So maybe even think back to those meets. Was there something in your personal life, not necessarily training, that could have also had an influence?
Absolutely. I mean, at that point in time, like for the meets where I was really incredibly tense, I mean, at that point in time, we were leaving a gym. We were changing over gyms that we worked at. I'm sure I had some relationship issues at some point in time. Probably all my meets, to be honest.
I can verify that fact.
But I'm like, at this point in time, I'm gonna either stop doing meets or stop getting in relationships, you know. But yeah, that's absolutely true. There's always something like personally going on where if I'm not relaxed, I'm incredibly tense. Because for my very first meet, I was so relaxed, but I had the ability to kind of get in that place where I knew, like, okay, this whatever I put on my back is coming up, you know.
So that's what I know. So when I started integrating meditation into my life daily, all those life issues became a little more manageable. Like they still came just as hard, if not harder, but I was able to manage it with a little more of a clear head. But again, like Isaac was saying, it's going to be uncomfortable at first because it's weird. You're going to feel weird. If you've never done it, creating any new routine is uncomfortable. And becoming uncomfortable. It's becoming comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a really good kind of segue to the closing statements of, you know, how we talked and used those exact words in the last one. It was like, it's creating a new routine is hard. Like it's not an easy thing until it's easy. Right. And so looking at any habit, any routine, like it's built over time until eventually you forget that you had to build it. You know, like we forget that we had to train ourselves to wake up and brush our teeth. It took, you know, kind of our parents a long time to instill that habit into us. Now you're an adult with a full life of information going on in your brain, and you're trying to start a routine. It's not going to be easy. Like it's something that takes conscious effort, but eventually, and more likely sooner than you think, it just becomes your everyday life. And honestly, my perspective is like those routines that you build create the life that you inhabit. The Prolific PT Facebook group, if you want to be a part of it, just email prolificptf@gmail.com. And just say you want to be a part of it, and just give me your name and email. So then I'll add you. And all of us, all the coaches of Prolific, like Lincoln posts regularly, I post regularly, Stan, Peyton, who's a rehab specialist and she's in clinicals finishing for occupational therapy, Jimmy, who is a functional fitness like guru. The guy's crazy with kettlebells and dumbbells, and the dude trains like a SEAL. And then, Tatum, who's our lifestyle coach, like we all put really good content to help specific needs of the people in the group. And it's not like we're there, selling our packages or anything. It's we're there talking about the important stuff, like the breath work, the mobility work. We're talking about nutrition and lifestyle stuff. So if you're interested in getting that free value and hearing more about these types of things in depth, please email prolificptf@gmail.com and I'll add you to the Facebook group.
Thank you for watching. Again, the full podcast is about 45 minutes covering mindset shift. So if you want more detail on that, click on the link below, watch that full podcast, give Prolific PT a little love. And if you're interested in joining the Facebook group, email them. That email is below as well. If you have experiences with meditation or breath work, please comment those below. And if you feel like this video would serve someone well, please share. Thank you and have a blessed week.